This is Dingus, and he is not relevant to this video. Or is he? This is a video about Pokemon, which Dingus is not. Specifically, this is a video about PokeRogue, a browser-based Pokemon roguelike that I'd started playing a few weeks ago and really fell in love with. But I'm struggling to find enough time to complete a run at any decent rate. There's 200 waves there, that takes a while. And then I learned that PokeRogue's source code was publicly available. Now this got me thinking. I know how to program, theoretically. What if I just forked the repo and see if I could figure out how to make a faster classic mode? Figured out that, yep, I think I know how this all works. Anyway, the work was pretty straightforward. And I had made a quick classic mode that was only 100 waves instead of 200. I played through my quick classic difficulty and everything came together perfectly. Except for one boo-boo right at the end. You see, to get more biome diversity in a shorter run, I made it so biome changes occurred every 5 waves. This wasn't an issue until I got to the final zone, where after I defeated my rival, my zone changed to the desert. Now I was a little bit curious here about what actual impact this would have. Naturally, because the biomes changed, I'm getting a whole bunch of different enemies instead of the final end zone enemies. But I'd kind of assumed that the final boss would simply spawn in and work as normal. Instead, I came across the most self-assured Almado that has ever lived. Whoops. So I battled it, and unfortunately, after winning the first phase, he attempted to transform. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. But nothing actually happened here. So clearly, there was more to the final boss fight than I'd understood from my initial checking. Uh-oh. Okay, do over. After some more digging through the code, I determined that what Pokemon are actually available to fight at the end of the biome, including the final boss, is actually configured in that biome information. By making the location of the final fight different, it pulled a different desert Pokemon to fill the boss slot instead of the usual Eternatus. This was still though running the final battle specific logic, which was determined by what wave you were on, not actually what boss you were fighting. This all falls apart though when the game attempts to force a form change on the boss that it isn't capable of. Which, yeah, sorry to spoil, there is no form change for Almado. This results in us getting stuck and the logic not continuing forward. This deep dive taught me a few things. It definitely got me curious about the final boss fight. But for now, I fixed it so that we can go back to only changing biomes every 10 waves after we reach the Elite Four. This was a simple solution to prevent this fight from getting bugged again. And so there you have it. I added quick classic mode into my own fork of PokeRogue. This was a fun quick project I'd started while I was feeling pretty down and frustrated with my health and lack of free time lately, so I was really glad to just be able to get something up and have a nice success. Unfortunately, I was theoretically out of time here. I needed to get back to other important, way less fun stuff, and so I stopped there. Although, if you're looking at how much time is left in this video, you know that isn't true. It was over the next couple of days that I sort of got to thinking, wouldn't it be funner if there were multiple final zones and final bosses? It's kind of boring having the pivotal final fight always being exactly the same. And as part of my previous changes, I'd already dove into the final battle special code provisions, so I kind of had a good idea of how I might make that change. And so I got straight into it. Deciding to push myself a little, I decided this boss would have 2 different transformations instead of 1. This made my Pokemon options here pretty limited, but I did have an idea for an iconic and suitable Pokemon in mind, so I got to work. I had to change the checks for if the player was in the final zone, extend the final zone dialogue logic to also track which zone you were in to give different dialogue depending on the boss, decide on some custom movesets, and extend and frankly really jankify some of the final boss code to quickly implement my idea. If I was going to try and make an actual CR for this, I would have done it pretty differently. And so, a new final biome was added, the Forbidden Lab, and at the end of the lab, I'll be very surprised that this all works properly first time. So I actually grew up with Gen 1. Mewtwo is an incredibly iconic Pokemon to me for that reason. It therefore just kind of felt extremely right for him to be the alternate final boss that I put into the game. Another awesome trait that Mewtwo had was that he had 2 Mega Evolutions. And so I could implement my 3-tier final boss after a little bit of programming difficulties. Why do you have Future Sight? I didn't give you Future Sight. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, it's a disaster. He is the strongest Pokemon. He can't die. Nice. Okay, so that was it. I had Mewtwo in. Awesome. I'd done everything I'd wanted to. In fact, I'd dove much deeper than I'd initially planned, but I was definitely done at this point. Except, right before I called it quits, I had a chat with a buddy. Sort of told him about what I'd done here, and he suggested maybe adding one more thing in. That thing was so stupid, and so much of a bad and nonsensical fit into Pokerogue that I decided I had to do it. I was already familiar with how biome and boss code worked. Now all I just needed to do was learn how to add additional mons into the game and design out another final encounter. And so, we got this. No! No, you're not him! Ah! Okay, I made a boo-boo there. And so, we got this run. Alright, let's do this. Yes, it is. We got confusion. That makes sense. More confusion. Yep, this is feeling a lot like Dingus. Confuse Ray. So much confusion.
And I can't get up.
There we go. He's got ball moves, because he's Sisyphus Dingus. And then, we got this run. Final form, Forklift Dingus. He uses fly. Good job, Dingus. Yeah, bulldoze. Okay. This is dumb. I'm sorted now. Oh, man.
And then we got this run.
Okay. I'm done. I'm freaking done. Hey, thanks so much for watching.